Hi, it's time for another verb of the day. Today's verb is intervene. Let's take a look at some of the definitions or ways that we use this verb. The first way you'll hear intervene used is to mean to come between in order to prevent or alter a result or to alter the course of events. Sometimes with this particular definition, we physically mean coming between, maybe separating people who are engaged in some kind of disagreement or fight. And so we're trying to stop the fight. That's altering the result or changing the course of events. A second way you hear intervene used is to mean to occur as a delay or obstacle to something else being done. Again, sometimes this is used to note something else is delaying another event or action. A third way you'll hear intervene used is to mean to interrupt. Sometimes in stories or literature, an author will use this word to note that someone is interrupting another speaker or someone else who is talking. A fourth way the verb intervene gets used is to mean to extend or occur between events. Our fifth way to use intervene is really specific to the legal profession. So sometimes a third party will enter a lawsuit and make a claim against one party or maybe both parties to the lawsuits, the plaintiff and or the defendant. So that fifth definition is probably not something you'll hear quite often unless you're reading a lot of legal news or working in a legal field. You should know that intervene is a regular verb. To make the progressive form, you're going to drop the E and add ing to form intervening. The past tense and participle forms of this verb can be made by just adding the letter D, because this verb already ends in an E. Our base verb, intervene, ends in a voiced in sound. So our past tense ending is just going to make a D sound, and we're not adding an extra syllable as we say it. So it should sound like this: intervened, intervened. Okay. Now, there are a couple phrasal verbs that use our base verb here. One is to intervene between. So with this particular definition, again, it kind of ties back to our first, where someone is coming between multiple people. So an example of this: an officer intervened between the two fighting teams. So to physically come between, we might also connect another verb to kind of separate, right? Get them to stop fighting in this case. A second phrasal verb you might hear is to intervene in. This means that someone is becoming involved in some event, maybe a situation or a problem. An example of this could be: I don't intervene in my children's disagreements with their friends. Right? So this is saying another way: I don't get involved. I let them work out their disagreements. Now let's continue using our verb of the day, intervene, in the simple past tense and the present progressive. We'll start by talking with the simple past tense. We use this verb tense to talk about an action that was completed at some known point in the past. And the nice thing about our simple past tense here is that our structure is going to be the same no matter what our subject is. This is true in the affirmative, the negative, and our yes or no questions. So in the affirmative, we're going to have our subject, and then we're going to have our verb with our ed ending, since this is a regular verb here. An example of this might be: unseasonably hot weather intervened and the event was postponed to the following week. So here, this is that kind of idea of something interrupting and delaying. Right? So maybe we had an event planned for outside, right? But then we had this really, really hot weather where maybe it's not safe for people to be out for an extended period of time, or maybe nobody would come because it's too hot. So the event was delayed. I want to make a negative simple past tense sentence, my structure is going to be subject, did not, and then our base verb. So notice I'm not using that ed ending in the negative. You can see that in this example. The parents didn't intervene as their son tried to explain why he had missed his curfew. Here, this sentence would tie back to that idea of interrupting, right? They just let their son talk. Okay? Finally, if I want to make a yes or no question in the simple past tense, I'm going to use did, then I'm going to have my subject, and then the base verb. So again, no ed ending here in my yes or no question. An example of this. Did the VAR intervene when the referee missed the call? So VAR is our video assisted referee that's used. And so sometimes I think we're hearing this more with video replay and video referees in different sporting events, right? So are they going to become involved in this situation? That's what we're asking about. So there was maybe some obvious missed call on the field by the referees that are on the field. And so this question is asking the person kind of watching from afar, did they get involved? Now let's take a look at the present progressive. Many teachers and books will call this the present continuous, and that's fine. They mean the same thing. I like saying present progressive because I like to remind my students that when I have present progressive, I have two P's and I need two parts to make this verb tense. I need to use a present form of be, and then I need the ing form of the verb. So here we do have to pay attention to our subject. If our subject is I, then my form of be is am. If my subject is you, we, or they, my form of be is are. And if my subject is he, she, or it, be is is. Okay, so I'm going to use am, are, or is, and then I'm going to use the ing form of the verb. Here's an example. I'm intervening to make sure these teens don't begin smoking or vaping. I saw a sentence very similar to this. Again, someone describing how they were kind of becoming involved in order to prevent these dangerous habits from beginning. If I want to make a negative present progressive sentence, my structure will be to start with my subject, and I'm going to use my form of be that matches, then I'll use not, and then the ing form of the verb. Here's another example. The other political party isn't intervening in our primaries. So this might, again, be thought of as sort of interrupting, obstructing might be another word that comes to mind with this, but kind of becoming involved in. Finally, let's look at making a yes or no question in the present progressive. To do this, we're going to start with our form of be that matches our subject, and the subject comes next. Then we have that ing form of the verb. An example here. Are any nations intervening in the Yemeni civil war? Right? So are any people getting involved to help protect human life? Right? We know that's a really dangerous situation for many people living there. Now we're going to take a moment to look at just one word today that is related to our verb intervene. And that word is the noun intervention. Just like our verb, the noun can have a couple different meanings. You might use the noun intervention just to refer to that action or process of intervening. An example of this. Do those flowers grow without any intervention? So here, right, without people maybe adding certain fertilizers, nutrients, taking a lot of action, right, becoming involved in that growing process. A second way you hear the noun intervention used is referring to some action that is taken to improve a medical condition. So you might hear this noun as you meet with doctors or nurses. So an example of this might be, the doctor says a surgical intervention is her only hope. Right? So here, this sentence is suggesting that surgery is needed in order to make an improvement. A third way you'll hear the noun intervention used is to refer to an event where we have an individual who has maybe some type of addiction or problem, and their family or their friends sort of gather to try and talk about this problem in hopes that they get the person to take some action towards improving or eliminating that addiction. An example of that. His family and friends are holding an intervention in hopes that he'll go to rehab. Right? So there's the specific action they want him to take to face his problem. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you have a great day.